Same as usual, working at your own pace, making sure that nothing is causing pain or discomfort, as in joint pain. Muscular discomfort, entirely up to you. If you need to stop and have a little rest, to stop and rest. If you can keep it going for as long as you can. As usual, if I'm seated, see if I can find that nice lifted position that allows me to take the breath down into the belly. So see if I can get into the nice relaxed diaphragmatic breath. This is softening through the chest, relaxing through the throat, the shoulders, the neck, encouraging the breath to drop into the belly. If you're lying down, just using the mat to help you find that relaxed position, keeping the legs bent or straightening out the legs, whichever feels more comfortable for the hips, and then see if I can guide the breath down into the belly. So feeling the belly rising with the inhale and just falling with the exhale. Softening the throat, making sure that I'm not holding tension into the face or into the jaw. And then at the same time, running that quick scan over the body. So noticing how the body feels, how the pressure is at the back of the body if I'm laying down, on my seat bones if I'm seated up. Notice the position of the head, the position of the arms, of the legs. Are they the same? Are they different? Is the head centered? Is it slightly off to one side? As usual, I'm not changing anything, just noticing where everything is and how I feel to begin with. And then as I start feeling a little bit more settled, the breath feels a little bit calmer, the body feels a little bit more relaxed, then I'm going to start focusing on the arms. I'm going to start off with a little front raise. So raising the right arm up to the front. I'm going to take it as far as I feel comfortable, and then bring that arm back, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the left. So if I'm lying down, the movement kind of like feels slightly easier as I'm not working with gravity. So I can go quite a long way back as far as my shoulder doesn't hurt, as far as I'm not forcing the movement. If I'm seated, I'm working against the gravity, so the arm will feel much heavier, much harder to lift. I'm going to try and take it as far as I feel that I can control it without straining, without over-recruiting, without stiffening up into the neck, into the shoulder, or into the head. And then if I feel that the movement starts feeling a little bit smoother, a little bit easier, then see if you can try and alternate the arms. So instead of swapping from one side, coming down and then moving the other, see if you can move one down and then the other one up at the same time. So one moves towards the head, one comes back towards the hips, one moves towards the head, one comes back towards the hips. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release and down, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, relaxing the shoulders. I'm going to stay with the arms, but this time I'm going to go sideways. So I'm going to go for a lateral raise. So I'm going to swing the right arm round the side, bring it towards the head, and then I'm going to swing it back by the hips. Then the left, I'm going to do the same, and then bring it back. As usual, if I feel that the shoulder is a bit stiff or there is a pain in the shoulder as I swing the arm, just allow the arm to come slightly forward. So if I'm seated, I'm just going to bring it slightly forward to the body line. If I'm lying down, I'm going to bring it slightly further away from the floor, further away from the mat, just to see if I can find a nice smooth movement to the right and a nice smooth movement to the left. A little bit of clicking into the shoulder is normal, just making sure that with the clicking, there is no pain. Play with the position of the hand, see if I can try and find a better fit between the top of my arm and the shoulder socket to avoid that clicking, to avoid that clonking every time that the arm moves. And then same as you need for the front raises. If you feel that the movement feels smooth, easy enough, Then see if you can alternate the arms. So this one goes down, the other one is already coming up, one towards the hips, one towards the head. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the arms, and then I'm going to change the direction of the movement one more time. I'm going to try and kind of like mix them up slightly. I'm going to start in the middle, so I'm going to raise the arms in front of me, and then imagine to have a spring in your hands. So I'm going to pull the spring with the right arm. I'm going to go out and back. With the left arm, I'm going to go out and down. So I'm going to pull my spring across the front of the chest. I'm going to let it recoil in the middle, and then I'm going to pull it across the front of the chest the other way. Back in the middle, and then I'm going to pull it across the other way. So if you had a spring, if you had a band, as I pull it, it should be coming kind of like across the front of the chest. So that way, come back, and then that way, and come back. So I'm going to pull across, is back to center, pull across, is back to center. Think of a nice opening through. See if you can think of the tension at the back of the shoulders, squeezing out, bring it back together, squeezing out the other way, and then back together again. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the arms. So it's a little bit more movement into the shoulder joint, into the arm. I'm going to see if I can focus on the back a little bit more this time. So still working through the arm, this time just using the arm to help me rotate. So I'm going to reach the right arm across the front of the chest, as if with the right hand I was trying to kind of like touch the somewhere around that left side of the room. So I'm going to reach across, as if I was trying to reach kind of like across it to grab hold of my seat belt. I'm going to pull it across with the left arm. I'm going to reach across the other way and then come back. So I'm going to reach across, pull back to the center, reach across and pull back to the center. So see if you can focus more than the arm, focus on the rotation. So as I turn to reach, how far am I turning when I reach with my right arm? How far am I turning when I reach with the left arm? One side is normally easier than the other. So always focus on the stiffer side. So I feel that as I turn to the left, I feel quite easy. As I turn to the right, it feels a little bit more restricted. I feel a little bit tighter. So I'm going to focus on in that direction a little bit more. See if I can try and reach a little bit further, stay there for a little bit longer, just to see if I can ease some of the tension away. So if I'm on the mat, exactly the same. I'm going to reach across one way, come back to center, reach across the other way, come back to center. If you're on the mat, if you're lying down on the back, just make sure that as you reach across, you're not taking your bum with you. So you're not turning all of the body. I'm just turning my shoulder. So I want my upper back to rotate, but my hips are to stay. 4, 3, 2. Last one, I'm going to reach across with my right arm. With the left arm, I'm going to hook around with the right arm. Just don't hold the elbow above or below the elbow joint, and then I'm going to have the arm nice and close to the chest. So see if I can encourage a little stretch behind the right shoulder as I'm turning to the left. I'm going to hold it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ease and back. Left arm across, I'm going to hug it close to the chest and then turning to the right to see if I can get the stretch behind that left shoulder. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Releasing the shoulders, relaxing the upper back. It's a little bit more movement into the back. I'm going to change the direction of the movement. From rotation, we're going to lateral flexion. So I'm going to start flexing side to side. So whether I'm lying down, whether I'm seated, think of reaching down the right side of the body. So I'm going to flex to the right to reach down with my right arm, come back to the middle, and then flex to the left, reaching down with the left arm, and then coming back to the middle. The only difference is that if you're lying down, you might want to support the head. So if I'm seated, the head is just following me side to side, so the neck is not straining. But if I'm lying down on the back, and then to carry the head and the body to the side, I might want to support the weight of the head so that the neck doesn't need to be straining to hold the head up. I can just rest the weight of the head into my hand as I reach down the right, and then as I reach down the left side. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, releasing the shoulders, giving the head a gentle roll, making sure that the neck doesn't feel stiff, it doesn't feel tight. And then I'm going to see if this time I can work in flexion. So if you're lying down, again, I'm going to place the hands around the back of the head, supporting the head. And then tucking the chin towards the chest, I'm going to lengthen the back of the neck. I'm going to curl the head away from the ground. I'm going to curl the neck. I'm going to curl the shoulders. Imagine to be able to kind of like rock your head forward. So if I was trying to bring my face onto my chest. So I'm going to curl my way forward, and then I'm just going to ease my way back. If you're seated, think of the same. I'm going to try and move it from the thoracic spine. So I'm going to tuck the chin towards the chest. I'm going to try and wrap my upper body round as far as I can. And then I'm going to bring myself back up. So I'm going to tuck the chin. I'm going to try and round the back. And then I'm going to release back up. So think of a nice stretch that goes from the back of the neck down to pretty much the middle of the back. See if I can ease some of the stiffness from up the top. See if I can create a little movement, a little space at the back. I'm not pulling on the head. I'm just keeping my hands around the head. I'm just trying to guide the head. So tucking the chin, encouraging a little bit more length at the back of the neck as I'm coming forward. And then I'm going to return my way back. 3, 2, last one. And releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. So back should be feeling a little bit warmer. I'm going to go back in rotation, but this time instead of focusing on pulling across, I'm trying to think of, I'm going to focus on opening up. So if you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto your side, set yourself into opening and closing doors. So I'm going to bend my knees, I'm going to stack one leg on top of the other, the knees are directly in front of the hips, so the shins are nice and level to the front of the mat. Remember, as you're lying down on the side, you want the bottom arm, the arm that is on the floor, the shoulder that is on the floor, to be as far forward as possible. So you're resting on the back of the shoulder. I'm not crashing the shoulder. If I need a support behind the head or below the head, I can use a block, a pillow, anything to bring the head up slightly. And then from there, I'm just going to start opening the door with my top arm. So I'm going to turn the rib cage towards the ceiling. I'm going to open up nice and wide. I'm going to pause there and then check that your shoulders are level, same height. And as I'm opening the arms, it feels as if the chest is opening, the shoulder is not twisting. Then I'm going to ease my weight back to the front, and then I'm going to open again. If you're seated, I'm going to repeat on the same side. So pick whichever side you want to. I'm going to keep my one arm nice and still to the front, and then with the arm I'm going to turn and open to the side. Again, I'm going to pause, check that my shoulders are still at the same height, the chest is still lifted in the middle. I'm going to come back to the center, and then I'm going to swing out again. Little pause to check, and then I'm going to come back. So it's a nice easy movement. I'm not forcing, I'm not twisting, I'm not hunching. I'm trying to stay lifted, I'm trying to stay open as I turn to look around, and then as I come back. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the back. I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So if you're lying down, turning the other way, setting yourself on the other side. Make sure that the bottom arm is reaching forward so you're not crashing the shoulder. The knees are together in front of the hips. If I'm seated, I'm going to switch the arms. One arm holds still, with the other arm I'm going to turn and open, and then I'm going to come back. Turn and open, and then come back. The same as I did on the other side. Think of a little pause every time that you open, and my shoulders are the same height. Is my chest is still open and lifted? Is my neck is still relaxed? And then I'm just going to return back to the front. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back, releasing the arms, so giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, adjusting the shoulders, adjusting the back. And then I'm going to move down into the legs, into the hips, into the lower back and the legs. So starting with a little bit of hip movement, I'm going to see if I can go into a little side to side. So keeping the feet and the knees reasonably close together, I'm going to start opening my right leg out to the right. So I'm going to try and open it as far out as it will go. And then I'm going to bring it back to the center. I'm going to repeat on the same side. So I'm going to open it to the right, and then bring it back to the center. Now, whether you're seated or lying down, if the leg is a bit temperamental, so I feel that I can open it, but I'm struggling to close, or I feel that I can close, but I'm struggling to open, or I'm struggling to open and close, I'm going to guide it with the hand. So I'm just going to tell the leg where I want it to go, using my hand, and then coming back. So see if you can picture the head of the femur, so the top of the thigh bone, just moving into the hip socket. So see if I can try and ease the hip joint to see if I can create a nicer, smoother movement. So nothing is grinding, nothing is stiffening or tensing too hard. Just a little balanced tension between the inner thigh and the side of the hip that are creating that little side to side with the leg. If you're laying down, just make sure that as the right leg keeps opening and closing, your left hip is not following. So my hips are not being pulled to the side by the leg. I'm going to hold the hips steady and just move the leg to the side. So imagine a little tennis ball balancing in the center of the belly. I want to keep the tennis ball there. I don't want the tennis ball to roll off to the side. 3. 2. Last one. And then easing back. Adjusting the right leg, and then we're going to repeat the same thing to the left. So opening that left leg as far as I feel comfortable. And then I'm going to close it back again. Opening. And closing. And then same as I did on the right. I feel that this leg is a little bit temperamental. So I'm just going to use my hand to guide it where I want the leg to go. It's without forcing. So however big or small the movement is, it doesn't matter. Again, if you're lying down, think of that tennis ball balancing in the middle of the belly. Don't let the ball roll off to the side. So if you're seated, same as before, think of one leg keeping still, the other leg moving. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And then easing back to the middle. Now that the hip feels a little bit warmer, so the joint seems to be moving a little bit better, then I'm going to try and see if I can get the hip flexors to switch on. So you can use the ball or you can use the hand. If you're laying down, probably with the ball or with the cushion is better so that you don't have overreach. You don't have to overreach with your arm, but if you're seated, my hand is quite close to my thighs, so I don't need to overreach. I can use the ball, doesn't matter, whichever it's easier. So I'm going to place the ball between my right hand and my right leg, or between both hands and the right leg. And then think of squeezing the ball between your hand and your leg. So with the leg, I'm going to try and lift, and with the hand, I'm going to try and push down into the ball. So I'm going to try and squeeze the ball and release. Squeeze the ball and release. As you squeeze the ball with the leg and the hand working together, working in opposite direction, see if you can be aware of that little twitch, the little tension into the front of the right hip. So I can feel it tensing. Every time that I go for the squeeze, I can feel that muscle kind of like a gripping to create that little tension there. So see if I can try and be aware of that little twitch, the little tension, see if I can focus my intention on the hip, the deep hip flexors, to see if I can get them going, see if I can get them tensing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ease the pressure, push the ball out of the way. Now that I can feel that the hip flexor is connecting a little bit, so I can feel it twitching, then see if you can start going up with that leg. So can I try and come up into a little lift, and then I'm going to ease that leg back down. Come up into a lift, and then ease back down. So same as I was doing with the ball, but this time there is nothing pushing against my leg. So my leg is free to actually come up into the lift, however small. So my foot can still be on the floor. It might be lifting off. It doesn't matter, just making sure that the tension, the intention is still in that hip. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing, relaxing the hip, relaxing the leg. I'm going to try the same thing on the left side, on the other side. So I'm going to place the ball between the left thigh and the left hand, or both hands. And then I'm going to start to squeezing the leg into the ball and the hand into the ball too. So again, see if I can find a connection into the front of that left hip. Release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. I've got that little connection on that side, so I'm going to try now to let the leg come up. So I'm going to pull up on the left and then ease back. Pull up and then ease back. 3, little lift, big lift, no lift. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg is a little bit more connection at the front of the hip. What I'm going to try is focusing to the back of the hip, so going into hip extension this time. So if you're seated, bringing the feet just a little bit closer to the chair, and then I'm going to try and transfer the weight forward into the legs, and then squeezing with the back of the bum as if I was trying to lift off the chair. And then I'm going to ease my way back down into the chair. So as if I was trying to lift off the chair and then ease back into the chair. If you're laying down, we're going to bridge our way up. So little lift or big lift, squeeze in with the back of the bum. I'm going to drag the hips up and then I'm going to take them back. I'm going to drag them up and then take them back. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, relaxing the hips and releasing the legs, and then I'm going to try and stretch around the hip. So if you're lying down, you might want to use the band. I'm going to set my band and my belt around the right foot, and then straightening out that right leg. I'm going to gently pull it towards me until I can feel the stretch coming down the back of the leg. If I'm seated, I could use the band and pull the leg up, but obviously from here, the leg is a lot heavier to lift. So the easiest way is if I shuffle a little bit closer to the edge of the chair, I can straighten up that leg. And then easing forward, I'm going to try and lean forward into the leg until I can feel a little bit of a stretch into the back of the leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back, relaxing the leg, switching to the other side. So placing the band around the left foot, straightening up the left leg, gently bringing it towards you, or if I'm seated, I'm just going to extend the left leg in front of me. I'm going to bring myself up and then come forward until I can feel that gentle pull coming down the back of the leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the leg, releasing the hip, and then I'm going to switch for the inside of the leg. So if I'm seated, I'm going to try and walk the feet out, and then at the same time trying to push the knees out as far as I can. So see if I can try and find the position that allows me to ease some of the tension from the inner thigh, the hip and the groin, making sure that there is no pressure on the back. If I'm lying down, I'm going to bring the feet close together, and then letting the soles of the feet come together, I'm going to let the knees open out to the side, allowing the hips to drop down into the mat, so it doesn't feel as if you're hyperextending, it doesn't feel as if the lower back is arching away, and just allowing the legs to settle. Once you feel that the legs are settled, if there is no pain into the side of the hip, so nothing seems to be pinching, nothing seems to be catching there, then I'm going to place the hands on the inside of the legs, and then I'm going to apply a gentle pressure out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ease the pressure, ease the legs all the way back to the middle, relaxing the legs, relaxing the hips. And then from the inside, I'm going to try and release on the side of the leg. So if you're lying down, I'm going to move my left leg out of the way. I'm going to curl the right leg up into the chest to find a comfortable position. With the left hand, I'm going to keep holding onto the right leg. With the right arm, I'm going to anchor down by the side, keeping the shoulder on the mat. And then I'm going to gently start pulling the leg across, as far across as I feel comfortable. So I'm going to allow my hips to turn as well. Just make sure that your shoulder stays on the floor. If you're seated, you've got two options. If you can cross the legs, I'm going to cross my right leg over the left, and then I'm going to pull it across as I'm trying to turn in the opposite direction. So I'm getting the stretch around the hip and across the back. If I can't cross the leg, I'm just going to pull both legs off to the side. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing back, switching side. So bringing the left leg across the front, right hand over, and then I'm just going to pull gently to the other side. See if I can get a nicer stretch coming down the side of the hip, across the middle of the back, and just making sure that there is no pain. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Releasing the legs, relaxing the hips, and then I'm going to stretch into the shoulders, into the upper back. So reaching the hands, if you're seated, reaching the hands behind the back. If I can't quite clasp my hands together, my shoulder won't go that far. It's a bit stiff or it's a bit sore, I can use my bands. So I'm just going to flick my strap behind me, and then I'm just going to hold on to the strap. Then from there, I'm going to squeeze the shoulder blades together, push the chest forward, lifting up, and then I'm going to reach the arms as far as I can. See if I can get that nice stretch across the front of the chest. If you're sitting, if you're lying down, you can still use the band under the hips, under the back. I'm going to hold on to the band. I'm going to retract the shoulders. I'm going to reach through the arms and sending the ribcage up to the ceiling. See if I can open up at the front. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. If you're lying down, I'm going to raise the arms up in front of me, and then I'm just going to hug my own elbows. So right hand to the left elbow, left hand to the right, or forearms, whatever it's easier. Then keep the hug through the forearms, through the elbows, and then allow the arms to go back as far as they'll go. So see if you can open up into the front of the shoulder, down the side. Just make sure that there is no pain in the shoulder. If you're seated, I'm going to grab hold of my left elbow with the right hand, and then I'm going to start to bring the elbow up. Ideally, I would want my elbow to point straight up to the ceiling. Physically, I might not be able to get there, so I might only be able to bring it up to a certain point. I'm not forcing it, just to see if you can try and get a nice stretch coming down into the back of the arm and down the back of the shoulder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're seated, switch to the other side. I'm going to hook around the right elbow, and then I'm going to bring the arm up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and releasing back. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. If you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto the side, and then slowly pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding your comfortable seated position. So legs crossed, legs out, kneeling, sitting on a sofa, sitting on a chair. Finding the seat bones to see if I can lift myself right onto the seat bones, using the arms to balance if I need to. And then I'm going to start opening up along the front of the body. So bring the chest forward. I'm going to flick the shoulders back, drop them down, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then I'm going to release and come forward. Let the chin drop down to the chest and the shoulders come forward. I'm going to round and drop. And then I'm curling back again. Extending up, looking forward, looking up, looking back as far as I can. And then releasing, coming forward, dropping down. Last time. As much lift as I can at the front of the body, pushing the chest forward, drop the shoulders down at the back, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then releasing back to the front. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow. Give yourself a